Here's what's coming today on the Woodworking Network podcast.
I'm sort of a kid at heart, so when I see a robot, I'm there. When in doubt, I go find a robot. I've had many of the cobots bounce off my chest just to make sure that they do stop.
Welcome to this episode of the Woodworking Network podcast. Join us as we explore the business of woodworking, big and small, and what it takes to succeed. I'm Will Sampson. Today's episode is sponsored by WoodPro Expo Lancaster. Today our guests include the editors of Woodworking Network who covered this year's International Woodworking Fair in Atlanta in a roundtable interview recorded live at the show. But first, I want to talk about trade shows still count. Trade shows today aren't that far removed from ancient local bazaars. After all, what is a trade show but a gathering of merchants and buyers trying to make trades? Placing that centuries-old history against today's modern communication technology, some might think the trade show has outlived its usefulness and is just an anachronism in the modern world. Not at all. Look no further than the recent International Woodworking Fair in Atlanta. After 4 years without a face-to-face event, the Western Hemisphere's largest woodworking trade show drew tens of thousands to Atlanta to see what's new, buy machinery, tools, supplies, and services, and to learn and network to improve their business. Vendors spent literally millions of dollars to have plenty of big running machinery on the trade show floor. And organizers were pleased to see booths take over all 3 halls of the World Congress Center, with about 1,000 exhibitors. The same thing that made ancient public markets a success still provides the fundamental energy to make modern trade shows continue. That's the fundamental face-to-face contact between buyers and sellers, between people hungry for new knowledge and new products, and the people who want to supply the latest knowledge and products. And because the audience makeup changes from year to year, even mature products and knowledge are hungrily sought by those who are new to the industry or just new to the trade show. I've been talking about pricing for custom woodworking for more than 2 decades, but I still attracted a standing room only crowd of nearly 150 people to talk on pricing your work. I love trade shows. From the massive high-tech machinery and huge booths on down to the struggling entrepreneur trying to peddle a new widget from a little 10 by 10 foot booth. It's all great. I learn about new processes and technology, rekindle old friendships, make new ones, and get the chance to feel the live pulse of the industry. And I can tell you, that pulse is beating strong. I want to talk more about the show, but first let's pause for a word from our sponsor. You don't have to wait a year for the next big industrial woodworking show if you are near the Mid-Atlantic area. WoodPro Expo Lancaster offers a lot of what the big shows have, including machinery in action, a show floor with a wide selection of exhibitors offering show specials, and a conference full of educational sessions to boost your business. All of that in a convenient setting in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Network with peers, learn about ways to improve your business, and see your next machine in action at WoodPro Expo Lancaster, October 13th through 14th at Spooky Nook Sports Center. Learn more at woodproexpolancaster.com. See you there. Now let's get to our discussion with the Woodworking Network staff covering IWF. Hello, everybody. I'm Will Sampson, Editorial Director of Woodworking Network and FDMC Magazine, and we are live at IWF. And today I have the privilege of interviewing 3 of our editors here who have been busy all week going around the show and talking to people, and I want to get their spin on what's exciting and new that they've seen at the show. Just so you know who we have, on my left I have Larry Adams, who is in charge of our news. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you very much, and hello to the audience.
And then we have Michelle Bradford, who is the editor of Closets and Organized Storage and has a lot of expertise in those markets.
Hi, everyone. Glad to join you today, Will.
And then we have Karen Koenig, who handles our FDMC 300 list of the largest companies in this industry and has been a veteran for many years in this industry and knows a lot of details about the best businesses and who is doing what. Hello, welcome, Karen.
Hi, and you're making me feel old by calling me a longtime veteran.
I'm sorry about that, but you know, we have a lot of experience to share. I'm going to start out. One of the things that I really liked in the show, every year they do the Challenger Awards to honor new and exciting technology. And some of that's big machinery and that sort of thing. But one of the smallest machines that was honored is something called a blind stapler that was done by a company called Topline. Stuart Top, and I actually had a chance to use this tool and did a review of it myself. And it's really cool. If you're doing face frame cabinetry, it allows you to staple the face frames from the back. And so you don't have to do any finishing it doesn't destroy your finishing. You don't have to cover up any nail or staple holes on the front. And it works really slick. It has built-in vacuum pneumatic clamps, not vacuum clamps, but pneumatic pressure clamps that mount it to your cabinet and you just move it along. And the other cool thing about it, which has nothing to do with the machine, but Stuart Top, who invented this, is a former professional cabinet maker, and now he's sort of semi-retired, but he uses all the proceeds from the sale of these blind staplers to build wells in impoverished communities that do not have clean water supply. So it's kind of a neat project and really cool. What of the other Challenger Awards, Larry, what one stood out to you?
Well, the ones that I've seen have been wonderful. As for Stuart Top, he has a fantastic 42-year in the making product, and he has a wonderful story to tell. Some of the safety products, the product at Felder, that is a sensor that will lower the saw blade almost immediately, so there doesn't have to be a touch of the blade, so there's no flash. It's all, you're breaking a current, and that tells the machine to automatically slow the blade and drop it below the level of the table. And
this is if your hand gets too close to the blade.
Exactly.
Right. And that's on a big industrial sliding table saw too. It's not on a little table saw.
Right. Right now they have it on one of their products, but they're going to ramp it up for the others, migrate it to their other systems. As you know, Felder has a tremendous breadth of equipment, and they're going to be migrating it to these other machines over time.
That's great. Karen, what one of the Challenger Awards stands out to you?
Actually, quite a few of them do. One of them is kind of interesting. The iDovetail, for example, from North Tech. That one was very interesting. That also won the Visionary Award last year at AWFS. And it's one of it's got a very easy to use interface, which works out very well because if people are having trouble getting employees in, especially new employees, this thing is so easy for programming that, I mean, it's just fast and everything. So that just was very interesting. Also, from Bocce, their lathe, that was interesting. They actually took code during the pandemic and were able to finish it. It's a project that was started a long time ago. The concept was, and they used the pandemic to finesse it and bring it to fruition. And it not only does for rounded edges, but straight edges, flat, It's if you go over to their booth, it's amazing to see.
Wow, that's great. Michelle, what about you? Is there a Challenger winner or something in the closets industry that you saw that stood out to you?
Well, one of the things that I noticed in our closet symposium, one of our presenters was talking about some of the trends in color, what we're seeing, some soft pastels, natural finishes, and that's exactly, I think, what you're seeing on the floor. I stopped by several booths from Melosi Wood Coatings. They had some of the same colors that they were featuring on some panels in their booth. Element Designs, they were talking about some of the colors they have and some that they're planning to introduce. Those those pastel colors, kind of earthy elements. Terracotta is something that
Interesting.
Yeah, and also seeing some of the wall panels I saw, and unfortunately I can't remember the company name right now, but I saw several companies that had like kind of a three-dimensional wall panel, kind of a corrugated
Yes,
look.
textures seem to
Yeah.
be a thing. Like you and I were over at the Hafele booth, and we saw the leather look finishes that they had on things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now for several years, the textured laminate, that soft look, wood look kind of stuff that mimics the grain.
Yeah, and Rahal, Larry, I know you stopped by the booth too. They introduced a new product called Wood Fiber Laminate, WFL, I believe it's called Rahal, or Revisio in grain. So it's another price point in that line from TFL on down. So it gives that real authentic look of the wood grain and like deep textures.
That's great. Well, one of the things we probably should talk about too is just sort of the overview of the show. There's really great attendance. I don't have any numbers yet, but everybody's been busy throughout the show. Here we are on the last day of the show, and there's still a lot of traffic. And then Michelle had a great attendance at her CNC symposium on Monday before the show, or not CNC, the Closet Symposium. My CNC symposium was well attended. We did the leadership reception for our 40 under 40 honorees, which was really a great event. And all of this makes me more excited about the future of the industry. And that is a good point. Karen, why don't you talk about the 40 under 40 folks? That's, I think, a really wonderful view of what the next generation of leaders is.
We'll briefly put 40 under 40. We recognize the achievements. It could be someone involved in sales, manufacturing, education, all facets of the woodworking industry, all market segments. And everyone, we had great attendance. We had over 80 distinct nominees. We whittled that down. We had 41 this year due to a tie. And just the achievements, anyone from someone who's on the shop floor to someone who's the president of the company, and just the stories that they tell of, some of them started working in the industry at 16, started their own companies at 16. And so just, it just gives you, hope for the future of the industry. And we had about close to, 200 people at the reception. So.
And I have to say, the young men and women that were honored with this award were truly honored. It wasn't just another thing that they could say. They were ecstatic to have won that and have that plaque in their hands.
Well, and so many of them too. I was appreciative that so many of them were involved in community building and charitable activities. These are not people that are just staying in the shop or staying, in their office. These are people that are getting out and trying to make a better world. And it gives me great hope for all of our industry. And I was really excited we had higher attendance in all of the education seminars that everybody was doing. And it's a lot of new people. I mean, I've seen a lot of old faces. I mean, I've been in this industry a lawful long time, and it's been Old Home Week for me here. But at the same time, there's an amazing number of people that are brand new to the industry and coming on board and exploring things. Michelle, are you seeing that with closets? Are there a lot more people that are getting involved in closets?
Yes, at our symposium on the first day, on Monday, we had this company, I believe it's in Irving, Texas. So they were there. I think they've been in business like under 5 years. So they were definitely trying to seek out all the knowledge and make connections with people here through the association. And there were several cabinet companies who had started like a closet division. A few of those people stepped into my presentation that I had, and then you had people who had been in the industry, for some time, and they were just trying to, see what's new is going on, and again make those connections with other people.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of folks exploring what's new, and there's definitely a lot of new, particularly in robotics and automation. I mean, you can hardly walk down 2 aisles here without seeing at least one robot. And there's CNC solutions ranging from big machines on down to there's at least 3 small, really small CNC operations. I'm talking about Shaper Origin, which is a handheld CNC, and then there's one that is Yeti that mounts on a couple of sawhorses, and then there's an outfit from Italy, Stringa, that is got one that it has wheels and it drives itself on the substrate that it's cutting, and it's really great to watch. So new technology, new things that are going on. Anybody else have any other things that pop to mind? Karen?
The time savers, for the first time that I recall, they had a little robotic sander. I mean, you think of them with the big wide belt sanders, and there's this little one with the little robot doing profile sanding. I thought that was kind of neat.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of things that have robots doing the grunt work and self-programming. Folks at Lesta have teamed up with Samy's Kremlin and are having their robotic sander that's self-learning. It will mimic your efforts. You can pretend like you're spraying something, moving the arm of the robot, and then it will save and remember all of your motions and duplicate that. That's really cool. Larry, what's another thing that you saw?
Well, definitely the less of the self-learning was interesting, and there were some very surprising things. Certainly the time savers, the iconic time savers, they've been around forever. You go to a plant, they've 50-year-old machines, and to see them doing a contoured piece with a little KUKA robot was fascinating. But also going to some of these larger booths, BSA having 3 substantial manufacturing cells. Seeing a BSA machine with a HOMAG label on it because they're working together to develop this interface and link the machines. So there was some very surprising things, and I'm sort of a kid at heart, so when I see a robot, I'm there. When in doubt, I go find a robot. I've had many of the cobots bounce off my chest just to make sure that they do stop, and they do. And just know I'm perfectly fine. I'm not injured at all. But what's exciting is not just those big machines, and there are some giant machines that could be made even greater. A lot of these are very modular. You can add multi-head routers to it. You can add material handling that'll take it to edge sanders. But there are also a lot of really small guys here. You mentioned line stapler, and that's a wonderful story. I think we all agree on that. I saw the micro jig, which I know you've written about,
right?
And I got that demonstration. Daryl Jones gave a wonderful demonstration. But just everything you think of. I spent 45 minutes last night after the show talking to All-Star CNC router, and they make gaskets to help vacuum hold parts to a router. And try as I might, when he used the vacuum with one of these gaskets, I could not move that part. I probably, if I put all my 240 pounds behind it, I probably could have, but so there's these big guys and little guys, and there's just not enough time to see everybody.
No, there certainly isn't. If you're out here at the show, you've got a few more hours to look at things, but we're going to be following up with reports and telling you more of what we saw, and some of it I think is kind of like what Larry is saying. We're not going to realize everything that we've seen until we go check our notes and our pictures and all of that. So it's been great experience. We're all excited. There's strong energy in the industry and new people and new generations. It's very hopeful that we're going to make some improvements. Well, I want to thank Larry and Michelle and Karen. This has been fun, and we've got more people to see still. We're not done yet. Thanks for listening to the Woodworking Network podcast. That's it for today. If you want to meet me in person, be sure to attend WoodPro Expo Lancaster, October 13th through 14th. If you're looking for more of our podcasts, you can find all of them at woodworkingnetwork.com/podcasts and in popular podcast channels. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks again to today's sponsor, WoodPro Expo Lancaster. Go to woodproexpolancaster.com. If you have a comment or topic you'd like us to explore, contact me at will.sampson@woodworkingnetwork.com. Thanks for listening.